Going to read a couple of headlines from today's New York Times. These are all on the front page above the fold. Donald escalates attacks on wind power, canceling $679 million in funding. Donald cancels Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. Defying Congress, Donald moves to cut $4.9 billion in foreign aid. Donald Trump is somebody who has never created anything in his life. And the Trump regime's rampage reminds us of an essential truth about being human. It is so much easier to destroy things than it is to create them. Another reason why it is so incredibly dangerous and misguided of us to have put somebody like him back in charge. So we have a lot of work to do, including reckoning with the fact that rebuilding, reimagining, re-envisioning this country's future is going to take a lot more work and a lot more time than the destruction of all of it. Let's dive in. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Mary Trump Live. It is wonderful to be here with you. Just to let you know, today's show is going to be a little bit on the short side because I have a previous engagement, but it's Friday. So, just going to keep it short. Anyway, as we know, as we could have predicted, Donald has ignored the courts. He's ignored precedent. And now, as I mentioned, he's ignoring Congress. But to be fair, Republicans in Congress have allowed him to ignore them. The White House sent a 15-page notification last night informing Congress it intends to cancel $4.9 billion that lawmakers approved for foreign aid programs. To do so, he's invoking a little-known and legally untested power to cut spending without their approval called a pocket rescission. The move amplifies that just reminds me that it's a little amazing to me that he has room in any of his pockets, considering all the judges he keeps in there. Anyway, the move amplifies the fight between Donald and elected officials over spending powers to the extent that there has been a fight. Again, time and time again, Republicans in Congress have capitulated, have abdicated all of their constitutional authority. But maybe this will finally be a line they won't allow to be crossed. Who knows? Donald's intentions drew swift condemnation from Senator Susan Collins, Republican of Maine, and the chairwoman of the Appropriations Committee, who called it illegal. Collins said in a statement on Friday, quote, "Any effort to rescind appropriated funds without congressional approval is a clear violation of the law." Oh my goodness, is Susan Collins concerned? That means nothing. Okay. It's always just Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and perhaps one other random Republican who's in a relatively purple state. The Republicans only need, or can afford, I should say, to have 3 of their party vote no on something to save face. So I don't really take Susan Collins seriously, and I don't think her concern carries any weight. However, it should, because basically what is happening here, and what has been happening since January 20th of this year, is that the executive branch is stealing or having handed to it by an allegedly separate co-equal branch of government, it's all of its power. So why is it that Republican senators in particular are so willing to make themselves powerless entities in this government? Hopefully this does kick up a big fight between Congress and Donald, especially as there's a battle looming over the release of the Epstein files. Just a quick reminder, according to Donald's own Department of so-called Justice, Donald's name appears in the Epstein files many, many times. We just don't know why. And we don't know why because Donald doesn't want us to know why. So Donald's continuing illegal, immoral, unconstitutional actions are not just limited to Congress. In his latest form of political retribution, Donald has revoked Kamala Harris's Secret Service detail. In a time when political violence is on the rise and Democratic politicians are literally being murdered, as one was in June in Minneapolis and another one almost was murdered, it's clear that Donald has only one goal in mind always: payback against his perceived political enemies. Here's MSNBC senior Washington correspondent Eugene Daniels with more.
Eugene, why did President Biden feel that there was a need to extend it? Was it because of what Susan is talking about, that we live in this time of unprecedented animosity towards not just people, but politicians, as we also saw up in Minneapolis a few months ago?
Before I got here, I was on the phone with a bunch of former Biden and former Harris officials and current Harris senior advisors. And, the sense was at the time in the administration was, look, at the end of the day, this is a black woman in America. We've seen the death threats and the kinds of things that have come her way from the Secret Service has been working on for years. So they wanted to extend it. It would have ended next year, next summer. And I was talking to a few of the aides, and all of them said the same word to me, which is, this is predictable, right? Were they prepared for it, as Susan's saying, with her book tour coming up? No, because the Secret Service works for weeks on these things. The security apparatus is planned for a very long time, so they weren't prepared for it. But it's also a piece of how Donald Trump works, right? Because it is retributive, right? It's not just, we want to save money on the Secret Service, or, this is weird. They do it because, some of the Harris folks said because of distractions from all of the things that are swirling around. And two, just because he doesn't like Vice President Kamala Harris. At the end of the day, that is what I heard over and over and over again. And it speaks to how Donald Trump operates. He used the government to deal with his own personal animosity with people.
Daniels is exactly right. There's nothing unpredictable or surprising about this. It has nothing to do with saving money or resources. This is purely about punishing Kamala Harris. Not even because she's so outspoken against him. She was running against him, which is what you're supposed to do in a presidential election year. One party is supposed to have a candidate running against a candidate from another party. They're not enemies. But Donald thinks everybody who disagrees with him even, or certainly who has the audacity to run against him in an election, is an enemy. As mentioned, the timing of this is a major concern. Kamala Harris is going to be on a book tour. It will be very public. It will be very well attended. I have no doubt the security precautions needed will be vast. The logistics will be complex. I think it will be, it should be very concerning to all of us that the Secret Service detail is being withdrawn so quickly without any notice at all. And it is yet another instance in which I am reminded of how reckless so many things about our government are. Why does one person get to make that decision about the potential safety and well-being of another person? I think that's completely crazy. A president should not have that kind of retaliatory power. But I should say, retaliation is Donald's stock in trade, not just against Democrats, though. Because I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here as Donald starts to realize his own party is looking towards a future without him, a future which, by the way, he cannot wrap his little head around. For the past several weeks, there's been public speculation about the state of Donald's health: physical, mental, emotional, psychological. He's shown an array of symptoms, including bruising, swelling, difficulty walking, trouble remembering names, seeming at times that he's not really oriented to time and place. During a Fox and Friends appearance a few weeks back, he said, quote, "I want to try to get to heaven if possible," unquote. That right there is diagnostic as far as I'm concerned. This week, in an interview with Baby JD Vance, USA Today asked, sorry. He's the vice president of the United States, and I have trouble remembering that sometimes. Not because, like Donald, I'm in cognitive decline, but because it's so unfathomable to me that grotesque, completely uncharismatic little Nazi is vice president of the United States. Anyway, he was asked in an interview if he's ready to assume the job of commander in chief if Donald's health fails. And unbelievably enough, he responded. Take a look.
As vice president, you're a heartbeat away from the presidency. And your boss is one of the oldest people to ever be sworn into office. You're one of the youngest people to ever be second in line. Are you ready to assume the role of commander in chief? And why should Americans trust you to lead the country?
Well, I've gotten a lot of good on-the-job training over the last 200 days, but also say that the president is in incredibly good health. He's got incredible energy. And while most of the people who work around the president of the United States are younger than he is, I think that we find that he actually is the last person who goes to sleep. He's the last person making phone calls at night, and he's the first person who wakes up and the first person making phone calls in the morning. So yes, things can always happen. Yes, terrible tragedies happen, but I feel very confident the President of the United States is in good shape, is going to serve out the remainder of his term and do great things for the American people. And if, God forbid, there's a terrible tragedy, I can't think of better on-the-job training than what I've gotten over the last 200 days.
No, wrong answer, Baby JD. The answer is Donald is immortal and will be president forever. You are now on his shit list. Okay, first of all, having theoretically an undiagnosed sleep disorder likely brought on due to a caffeine addiction does not make you energetic. Okay. So there's that. Also, Donald is really getting old. He's 79. He seems older. And I don't think it's fair to say that going from a car to a golf cart, back to a car, to a plane, to a car, to a golf cart makes you youthful and athletic. But what do I know? The interesting thing about that interview, though, is that although it mentioned Donald's age, it failed to mention any of the symptoms we've all been seeing lately. So I think those need to be weighed in on by people with relevant expertise, whether it's medical doctors or neurologists or neuropsychologists, what have you. So while Vance is making the just egregious mistake of contemplating Donald's mortality publicly, the Trump regime is, of course, continuing to move full steam ahead with its grotesque immigration policies. Donald is doing everything in his power to remove every white person from this country that he can. Sadly, he has a lot of help from the little Nazi Stephen Miller to Tom Homan to Kristi Noem and many, many others. But this time, children are his victims. More than 600 children from Guatemala are currently in custody of Health and Human Services, and they are being sent back to Guatemala. These children are all in the United States without adults. Most of them are refugees escaping violence or danger in their home countries. Today, Democratic Senator Ron Wyden sent a letter to the administration requesting additional information about upcoming plans to deport the Guatemalan children. He wrote, quote, "This would constitute the latest escalation in the Trump administration's push to disappear the vulnerable unaccompanied children entrusted to the Office of Refugee Resettlement's care, violating ORR's child welfare mandate and this country's long-established obligation to these children. They are most often fleeing abuse and violence in their home countries, traversing perilous conditions to arrive alone at this nation's borders. In many cases, these children and their families have had to make the unthinkable choice to face danger and separation in search of safety," unquote. Yes, but that is the point. Donald is expert at very few things, but one of them is going after the most vulnerable among us in order for him to feel stronger and more powerful. That is who he is, and that is basically who we're becoming as a country. We used to be a country of immigrants. This used to be a beacon to people around the world searching for a better life and searching to escape untold horrors that we do not face here, or at least we didn't in modern history. Of course, America has its own dismal track record, and our history is replete with putting people in horrible situations. We committed genocide against the native population, and we enslaved people for 8 generations, and then spent another 100 years essentially trying to re-enslave them. But there was that aspiration always to do better, to be better. And in an alarmingly short period of time, the Trump regime has been doing its utmost to reverse all of that progress. So that's dark, isn't it? But it's Friday. We made it through another week. And, to be honest with you, I don't like ending a show on that note. Luckily, of course, we have our emotional support moment to look forward to. And yeah, I think sometimes it's very crucial that we, I think it's always crucial that we face things head on, but also I don't believe in false optimism either. So, it's been a difficult week in this country. We're losing a lot of ground. And as usual, I don't say any of this or point any of this out to demoralize us. That is the opposite of my intention. But we're not going to be equipped to fight the fight we're fighting if we don't know what the terms of the fight are. And the terms of the fight, as is becoming increasingly clear, even to those of us who still have hope, have a great deal of hope for what can happen in the future, everything is at stake. So, given that, we deserve to take some time now and then to turn everything off, chill out, and first we breathe so we can get to our emotional support moment. Okay. For today's ESM, we are going to do something that I would love to do: swim with jellyfish. I didn't actually know this, but jellyfish are some of Earth's oldest creatures. They've been drifting through our oceans for more than 500 million years. They fascinate me. They have no brain, no heart, no bones. It sounds like our Republicans. Oh, sorry, our jellyfish Republicans. No, they're not, because jellyfish are awesome. And they manage to be awesome despite having no brain, bones, or heart. They're literally pulsing light and movement. And watching them float feels like, to me, it almost feels like being in outer space. And it's just a reminder of how much mystery and beauty there is on this planet, in the universe, yes, but underneath the surface of our oceans and seas. So let's watch this together. Yeah, I'd love to go swim with that. Not the stingy ones. Like I don't want to be at like that, have the experience of swimming with jellyfish to be like that scene from Finding Nemo. So for those of you who understand the reference. All right, quickly, I'm gonna get to some of your questions, comments, and well, not and, etc. All right. Oh, well, okay. Here we go. I have permission. Susan, thank you so very much. And look, guys, I got a hall pass to leave early from Susan. So we're all good here. Thank you, Susan. Deb is a new member. Thank you so very much and welcome. Erica, another new member. Thank you, Erica. And welcome to you. Mina Cheryl gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Thank you as always for that. That is awesome. And Mida Cheryl with the back-to-back. A TGIF fee. Thank you so much. In the middle of nowhere, thank you so much as always. Gifted 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. That's fantastic. Mary, thank you so much for that. And oh, cool. Happy 66th birthday. That's fun. That's wonderful. I hope you are doing something really awesome for your birthday, like maybe floating with jellyfish. I don't know. Like if that's your thing. Burb love to. Thank you. That's, oh, how nice. That is in honor of Mary Baca's 66th birthday. Cool. Elaine, thank you so very much. This is a just because it's finally Friday. That works. I like it. Lizzie Beth, thank you so very much, as always. Comment, VA coughed up one more time. It really plays with my PTSD that every time it happens, I and others think that your uncle might pull the rug out from under us next time. We love and appreciate you, though. Well, thank you, Lizzie Beth. And I can only imagine what it's like to live with that kind of uncertainty. And it's really horrific that you guys need to worry about anything, quite frankly. So thank you. And here's hoping that the VA continues to do what it was designed to do. Neely is a member for 2 months. Thank you very much. Comment, if Donald knew how he looks with his mouth open, he would keep his mouth shut. Yeah, the problem is he's so deluded that he always thinks he looks awesome. If Donald knew the slightest tiny bit of truth about himself, I think it would be annihilatory, quite frankly. Neely, wow. Gifted 10 Mary Trump Media memberships. That's fantastic and very much appreciated. Ghostly R59, thank you. And I love the comment. Cool jacket, Fee. Enjoy your weekend, Mary. Well, you enjoy your weekend. And yeah, actually, I don't know how old this jacket is, but I forgot about it. And I just found it today. And it was far too warm to wear outside. So I'm wearing it inside. Susan, again, thank you very, very much. Fee, for Trump Trolls, Trump Blooper. We didn't forget. Oh, I did, actually. Don't worry. We will remember because it's a great idea. We have so much fun doing that show. I mean, unfortunately, I think the blooper reel would literally just be me laughing hysterically and uncontrollably. I don't know how exciting that would be for you, but it's fun. Joanne is a super sticker, and thank you. That's wonderful. Awesome. Ghostlayer 59 again. Thank you. Oh, well, we're blaming Susan for this. Susan made me do it, but I second the Trump Trolls Trump blooper reel. Okay. Consider it going to be done. Neely, super sticker, thank you again. It's really wonderful of you. In the middle of nowhere, thank you again. Wow, you guys. Comment. I was trying to think of something deep to comment or ask, so thank you, Susan. Trump Trolls Trump blooper fee. TGIF. Okay. I think we're getting a consensus. Joelle is a super sticker. Thank you so very, very much for that. Stacy 3107. Thank you very much. Comment, executive order, more jellyfish videos. Yeah, we can do that. Just going to sign that piece of paper. And it will be law because that's how it works in this country, apparently. Ben, thank you so very much for that comment. Hi, Mary. Consider the following. At this point, America's rising fascism has very little to do with your uncle. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, Donald is not our problem anymore. I mean, he's a problem because he's vile and cruel and he does horrible things on a daily basis. But he's not in control of anything. He is not making the ship, whatever the analogy is. He is not the one. He's not the guiding hand. He's not behind any of this. He is literally a figurehead who is further and further detached from reality. So, yeah, it is the entire party and the people behind all of the dismantling of our institutions and agencies and essentially way of life. Captain is a new member. Thank you and welcome. Night Owl, thank you very, very much. Oh, sorry, Night Owl, Ohio. Thank you very much, as always. Comment, ESM suggestion, Morty the Misfit, find him. He's so adorable. We will. Maybe sign an executive order and it'll happen for sure. Being Nancy, thank you so much for that. Comment, Mary, I was late. What are your thoughts on the march in New York City yesterday? I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know. I didn't know there was one. I think that means I didn't leave. I was really busy yesterday and I didn't even get outside. So I don't know. But I'm definitely going to check it out. I feel like a very bad New Yorker right now, which does not sit well with me. And finally, PJ, thank you. That is very generous of you. Comment, so glad you're on our side. Well, yeah. You know what? It's awesome being on the right side of things, isn't it? And it's really even more awesome being the right side of things with all of you. So thank you for watching on YouTube, streaming on Twitter and our Substack, The Good in Us. Thank you to everybody listening to the podcast, to all of our new members, people gifting members, everybody donating, all of our super stickers. You guys make this possible. So thank you. Of course, to our amazing moderators and to my incredible team who just outdoes themselves every single day. Thanks, guys. I appreciate everything you do. Do not forget, we have videos dropping every day, including Saturdays and Sundays. Trump Trolls Trump drops tomorrow at 2 and others. I will be back Sunday at 6 o'clock for Ask Mary Anything Within Reason. I know it's a holiday weekend, but we will have Mary Trump Live on Monday. And that does it for us. So thank you, everybody. I will see you Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.